Hello Warriors, it's DeCrans here, and today I'm going to start out by making a coil mug. So the few things you're going to need is you're going to need the bag of tools that you should have got here. The tools is just a sponge, a popsicle stick, a fork, and a butterfly paper clip. Then you're going to need your clay, so I got the clay right here. We're only going to be using a little bit of that, we're not going to use a ton of it right now. Then a container to put your slip in. So I just got this, like, I don't know, what is this? Some yogurt dish or something. Anyways, it doesn't really matter, but I just put a little bit of clay and water in here and stirred it up together to make some slip. And then I have just like another thing of water, which I could dip my sponge in when I get to it. So let's kind of get started here. Alright, so I'm at a table, but I'm not going to make a mess today. So I'm just going to put this little canvas sheet on here so things don't really stick to the table and I don't make quite as much of a mess. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is get my base for my coil pot, or coil mug. I'm going to grab some clay. Right here, I'm just going to break off some of it. And this is what I'm going to use for my base. Now, there's a couple different ways to make this. The easiest way is if you have a roller or like anything that's like round. So here is just I don't know, like a metal. You can use like a roller for like a rolling pin. You can roll it out. This would be like a wooden like broom handle, and you could just roll out a piece like that. The other way to do it is this pinching method, where you just want to you can take the bottom, you can pitch it all together. But you want to get like a flat surface is what's going to be the very bottom of your mug. So I want to go about a 1/4 inch. Probably a little less than that actually. So I want it all to be the same consistency. And then you can set down, and this is going to be the base for your mug, or the very bottom of it. Now you can put it in whatever shape you want. I like to use, here I'm going to use the butterfly clip because I think that works out pretty nice for this. So I got the butterfly clip, and I use one edge, kind of open it. I use this edge for like a loop tool to like carve stuff out, and this one to is more of like a needle tool. And now I can just like get a little circle. You could do a square, you could do an oval, it's like whatever you want for the very bottom of your pot. So I'm going to do a circle. If there's a size of cup that you really like, whatever, you can just take that, put it right on top, and you can just trace it right out. It's whatever kind of shape you want it to be in. So right here is the bottom of. If it's not going to get a perfect circle, you can kind of stretch it, move around a little bit, pat it down. But still, I want it all to be about the same size. This is like a good bottom for my mug. Now, depending on what kind of you drew for your picture, you can do different types of things. You might want a bigger bottom if you want like a giant mug to drink out of, or smaller if you want like a bowl size. It really is up to you. So anyways, after you get your bottom, the next part is the coils. You're going to be doing lots and lots of coils. So just grab a piece of some clay, and what I'm doing is I'm going to take my hands, pushing down, and I'm just going to roll, and keep rolling. And I'm making a coil. And you want it to be all about the same consistency. So once you get your coil then, you can go put it on top of your mug and just kind of like figure out like how big this coil needs to be. Okay, so next, now I got my first coil, I'm going to go through my little toolkit here, and I'm going to grab the fork, be the next thing I need. And I'm going to go through and score. So, taking my fork, taking the end pieces of it, taking little tiny tick marks all the way around the edges, Then I do the same thing on the coil itself. So I scored it up, and then the next part is to add some slip. So I got my watery clay right here for my slip, and I think the popsicle stick works pretty good for this next part. So I'm going to just take have a little bit of slip on the end of my popsicle stick, and I'm going to go through and add that slip on the edges and then on the coil itself. So once I have that, I'm going to take the coil and place it on top of the slip. And you can see it's just one set of coils right on top. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again. So I'm going to grab a little bit of clay. I'm going to roll my second coil. Now, depending on your mug design, if I want, like, say, to get out, I'd make this where it's narrow at the base and it gets wider as you work your way up. You could take the make your coils a little bit longer, and then I'll just get, by doing that, it's going to get wider and wider. Or if you make your coils a little bit shorter, it'll start getting narrower and narrower. So that's how you kind of like make your coil mug in the shape that you kind of want to make it in. So I got my next coil. Slightly longer than the first coil, so it's going to come out a little bit from the base. I'm going to go through and do the same thing again. I'm going to score. Then I'll go through on here and I'll score up the top part and add together. Then I'll add the slip. And then I'll attach the two coils together. So I'm going to do one more coil, and then I'll kind of show you how to start smoothing it out. So usually you don't want to get any more than 5 coils up before you start smoothing the inside, because if you start getting too many coils up and then start smoothing the inside out, then it might get difficult for your hand to get put inside the coil mug. Just rolling out the coil. It's all about the same consistency. So you can see better. A little too long. So now I'm going to score, or make little tick marks using my fork right here. and then I'll score up the top, making little tick marks. And I'll add some slip. And then I'll attach the coil to the top. So you can see it's starting to get a little wider, and it's still movable enough where I can like put it in whatever kind of shape I want it in. And but if you start looking at the side, now the sides you can like leave with texture in, you can add different things in. If you want to make like a giant snake cup, you can leave like the coils in. But I'm going to smooth out the outside and the inside. You definitely want to smooth the inside out, because the inside is, if you were going to drink out of this and you had some sugar or I don't know, like anything that's, I guess, I don't know, anything that's not just water, there's going to get, you're going to want to clean it by putting it in your dishwasher or something like that. It's going to get all disgusting with all the little grooves, so you can smooth the inside out. So to smooth the inside out, I'm taking the popsicle stick and I'm going up and down. So I'm not going horizontally, I'm going like vertically, and I'm just smoothing the coil pieces together. And then the outside, smooth the outside out, do the same thing, going up and down. Just continue to work all the way around it, just smoothing the outside out. So once you kind of have the outside and inside smooth out, the last part is you can take your sponge. So I'll go with my little toolkit here, grab the sponge out. And now if you just have the sponge, it's a wet, damp sponge. Doesn't need to be soaking wet, but just, a little damp. And then just start smoothing it out so you can't even see the coils anymore. It's just really nice and smooth as you work your way all the way around it. But before you just do this, the sponge though, it works a lot easier to use a popsicle stick. And you can see right on the inside how smooth that is. So I'm going to continue working on smoothing the inside and the outside of what I have right here. Then I'm going to add some more coils. You get about 4 or 5 coils up. And start smoothing it out again. And then depending on how big I want this, maybe add a couple more coils. And smooth it out again. And keep that process going. So I think you kind of get the idea to start out with. So I'll kind of leave it right there. If you get to the point right here, like at the bottom where it might have like a little crack that's kind of hard to smooth because it's right by the base, you just take like a little wet piece of clay, put it on your finger, kind of smooth it right into that crack, and the crack just goes right away. So it's just nice and smooth all the way up. So I'm gonna work on that. Now, if I wanted to take a break and I was like done for the day, I'm gonna take a couple wet paper towels and put the wet paper towels on top of the, not soaking, but just slightly wet or slightly damp, and then I take it, put it into a plastic bag, and I'll keep it safe and nice until like next time I keep working on it. Anyway, so that's kind of how you start with your base. You just keep building up. So I'm about to run out of time because it's only gives me 15 minutes. So I'm going to build a little bit on and show you the next video.